Okay, so why don't we begin? And so I thank you all for coming today. And we have quite a few people who are not here yet, so that's okay. And that's pretty normal, we have found. And sometimes people misunderstand the time with the Zoom when they see GMT and other different time zones when it's the Eastern time zone. So, and then everyone always asks us, is the presentation going to be recorded? And the answer is yes. And you'll all have an access to a copy of the PowerPoint. So I do have you all on mute right now, and I also have the session being closed caption. So you should be seeing some printed information of the words that I'm speaking. And if you are not, I'm sorry. I think that everyone so far said that they are. So this is a Zoom issue, and Zoom has been pretty good with having them displayed for closed captioning. So they're there for you. By way of introduction, my name is Scott Krug. I am the president and founder of New England Low Vision and Blindness. We are a technology and training company based in Worcester, Massachusetts. And we serve the 6 New England states: Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. I know them well now. I've been here about 20 years. I am a transplant from New York. Shout out to all those who are from New York, which are probably nobody here. But I started in this field in 1992, which is about 30 years ago. In New York is where I began. And I tell people that this career and this path of low vision and blindness technology found me more so than me finding it. I love it. I will be doing it for the foreseeable future. And in some ways, it feels like I was doing what I was born to do. The company I started in 2009 out of the basement of my house here in Worcester, when I had 3 children who were all under the age of 5, and I had just been laid off by my previous employer. And so I had spoken to my wife, and after some thought about the matter, I said, you know what, I think it's time to open our own business. And so we have no insurance, we have no salary, all we have is expense. And so long story short, we moved out of the house, out of the basement of the house where the company started. It was just me at the time under a different name. The company was a different name. Our legal name is different than what you know it to be now. For those of you who know us, it was Let's Go Technology, and it changed about a year or two later to what you know it to be now, New England Low Vision and Blindness. Because the company changed, and the company no longer is just representing one supplier. Right now, it's a tremendous resource. It really is a dream come true for me as the founder of the business, because I've always wanted a destination where there's a place where if you have low vision or blindness and need to see the technology. Years ago, maybe you had a person who was in a one-man band. We like to say those words to identify a business owner who is by themselves showing one particular line, which is okay. But it really is nice where you can see everything and you have a lot of consumer choice. And that's what you have here at New England Low Vision. We have a lot of consumer choice for technology from all of the major leading brands right here physically in this location. And then we have a second showroom satellite location in Cheshire, Connecticut. So that's one half of the company. The second half of the company is training. It's extremely important that a person has training with the equipment. It's extremely important that a person who is looking into this type of technology has someone sit down with them and go over everything to make sure it's right. So you do need qualified people who are knowledgeable and caring about the technology and the person. So there's almost two companies in one right now. It's technology and training. I have about 9 trainers who are roaming all throughout the 6 states. And we serve the blind, the deafblind, and the low vision communities from all age groups. I would call it probably from as young as kindergarten to people in their 90s and some over 100. So, and all ages in between. So we have those resources available with New England Low Vision and Blindness. So it really has become an oasis for a lot of people who finally find us of a really nice experience if you're in need of seeing these technologies and having this training. So that's a bit about us. If you would like to see some more of the people, we have them posted on our website. We'll be going to our website a little bit later in the presentation because that also has become a tremendous resource for those who are in this field locally and also across the country. I mentioned to those who were here a little bit earlier that I do have Erin Davis. She is the director of operations in the company. Sometimes I joke, it's partly true. Actually, it's all true, but I own the company, but Erin runs it. So Erin has her ear to what's going on, and she's going to be assisting me with making sure that the presentation is not going off track, that you guys are able to hear me. The last time we did this about a month or so ago, there was a big windstorm here in Worcester and I just dropped out. And all you guys who were listening in and watching saw me go blank. And I thought, what happened here? So we had to resurrect that. So we hope that won't go on today and everything will go smoothly, but you can never know with a live presentation how things are going to go. So there was about a 5-minute break for everybody while we got things back online. So we hope everything will go fine today, but we'll just deal with things as they come up. And I'm going to be sharing screens. And so I'll ask Erin to just validate, is the screen that I want to have shared being shared? And so that we're all on the same page, that it's matching up with what I'm speaking about. There's also a chat. You all know with Zoom, for those of you who have used Zoom before, which is likely all of you, that if you wanted to send the chat, please do. And I'm not going to see it. So just be aware of that. I'm not going to see it immediately. Erin will see it and she'll try to respond. A lot of times there are housekeeping issues, but if there's something that you want to bring up and make sure I address, then I can do that for the group. There will be a time later in the presentation toward the end for Q&A, and there'll be a break, about a 10 to 15-minute break, about halfway through. So I wanted to let you know that there's going to be a tremendous amount of content that I think is extremely helpful for a lot of people. There's a lot of what I call fog out there. When I get into it a bit more, there's, sometimes we hear a lot from people who come in to see us. How come my doctor never told me about you? How come this is the first time I'm hearing about you? I just kind of stumbled upon your website, or if I didn't bump into so-and-so, I never would have found you guys. And so there's a degree of that is reality, that there's a degree of being on an island. I'm thinking of writing a book called Low Vision Island. And that's what it feels like when you're diagnosed with low vision, sometimes when you don't really know where the path forward is. So this workshop is an opportunity to provide some focus and some function to the fog. And so we'll go into that a bit more. I think that is about all of the housekeeping that I'll say right now. And so what I'll do is I'm just going to share the screen that I have in front of me. So give me 1 second and make sure I can do that. And I'll probably ask Erin to validate it in just a second. And give me 1 second more. And let's go click that. All right. So Erin, I think you can unmute yourself. You can just validate that what you see on screen is the presentation, and you also hopefully are seeing me somewhere, so you can see me as well as hear my voice. So are you seeing me in the presentation?
Yes, you're down.
Okay.
Yep, you're down in the bottom right corner and the presentation's in the center.
All right, perfect. Everything is on track. Okay, so what I'd like to do next is after you guys see the first slide, to know where you are at the Functional Vision Workshop here being presented by New England Low Vision and Blindness. And this is kind of going to be a little bit customized for retirement communities. I wanted you to know that that's the title of the workshop, Functional Vision Workshop, geared toward people at retirement communities and those who know them or work with them or love them. All right, so it's not necessarily the person at the retirement community, but those who know of them. Okay, so here's the agenda for today. It's always good to see the agenda. We already covered the first part, the welcome by me. We're going to go into a bit about veterans at retirement communities. Hear a bit from Dr. Toomey. I'll explain who she is in a couple of seconds. Go into some more of the content, answering the questions of what am I going to do, lighting, clearing the fog and getting functional. Didn't know if you knew we lived in two worlds, but we're going to go into that, how to begin, and then go into some of the top devices and options, and also the resources and tips, and then have the Q&A. So this will go to about 12. And so when I hear, oh boy, a 3-hour presentation, woo, that's a lot. But I am telling you, it's gonna be jam-packed with content, and it's gonna go by too quick, almost not enough time. All right, so let's go to the first slide, which is the veterans at retirement communities. So a lot of times we get phone calls from here, and our first question is, are you a veteran? And a lot of veterans are at retirement communities. And so retirement communities, a lot of them don't know that there are really big resources for veterans. This equipment and the technology and the training is expensive. It's very expensive. They're about $3,000 to $5,000 on average for each purchase. So it really has to be done carefully. And the question is, are any of these services covered by insurances? And the answer is no. For the past 30 years that I've been working in the field, since 1992, it has been no. It has been the number one question. Are these covered by insurances? The answer is no. But what is covering these services, the technology and the training? The VA hospital. So if you have any veterans in their retirement community, you really need to make sure that they are in touch with their local VA. Now, there are many VAs, but you really want to be aware of the VA that has the blind rehabilitation outpatient clinic. So I highlighted that in yellow on your screen now. So if you are going to a local VA near you, wherever you are in the country, it may not have a blind rehabilitation outpatient clinic in it, but you want to ask them where that is. Which VA hospital in your area has that in it? That's the key. That's your kind of your entry point, the blind rehab outpatient clinic. And this is the team of the people that are going to be helping you at the VA. So all of your veterans need to know this. People ask, by the way, is this applicable to spouses of veterans? Not in my experience. Okay, so it's just the veteran as an earned benefit for their service. So please take advantage of this. It's our first question when people call us up. Are you a veteran? Yes, we stop the conversation. We want to make sure they know about these services. Not all places do that. If you're a doctor, I don't know if all doctors do that. I don't know if all businesses do that. Are you a veteran? These services are paid for by the VA as an earned benefit to you. So your team at the VA at the Blind Rehab Outpatient Clinic, the first person to contact there or to ask about is a person called the VIST coordinator. The VIST coordinator stands for, it's an acronym that stands for Visual Impairment Services Coordinator. And who is that? That's your quarterback. I like to associate different word terms like that. So the quarterback of your care at the VA is the VIST coordinator, and that person can help coordinate your care. So to see a doctor, to see a technology person, to have someone come to your home, all of that care for the blind rehabilitation outpatient clinic is quarterbacked by the VIST coordinator. The next person who's important on your team is the OD. What is an OD? That's the low vision optometrist, and that is the acronym. If you ever speak to an optometrist, their acronym is not MD, but it's OD. They're a doctor of optometry, not a medical doctor, but still a doctor of optometry, and they're the ones who are primarily involved with your care at the VA. Now, I want to let you know that most ODs are working with spectacles, glasses, and you might know them from Lens Crafters or a local place near you. So the VA has someone unique there. It's an optometrist who specializes in low vision. Throughout your state, there are probably very few optometrists who specialize in low vision. There's so many optometrists. There's probably hundreds and hundreds of optometrists in your state, but maybe 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 that specialize in low vision. So the VAs have a low vision optometrist, and they have a special education with different techniques and devices, optical devices, to help you in your care. Number 3 person at the VA is the BROS, the Blind Rehabilitation Outpatient Services Specialist. And that person is the person that goes out to your home. So the key word there is outpatient. So you'll be needing to go into the VA, but there is a person at the VA who can go out to your home, and that is the BROS. The last role is at some VAs, at the advanced low vision clinics, you have a low vision therapist who can coordinate social workers. They themselves are oftentimes a social worker. And some states, some regions, in this region, for example, the New England region, for the 6 states, there is one advanced low vision clinic in Boston, and they have a low vision therapist. Not all blind rehab outpatient clinics have a low vision therapist, but the one in Boston does. There's also a sleepover place in each region. In the New England region, it's in West Haven, Connecticut, where you can actually go in for extended services and sleep over there for a week, 2 weeks, even longer, to have more intense rehabilitation for your low vision. Great services that really are not available in this fashion on the open market. The VA does a tremendous job. The VA does a tremendous job in providing these services. So I highly recommend. Sometimes I feel like I'll be yelling at the camera with a smile to emphasize how important it is to know this key tip. All right. So if you're in a retirement community, please spread the word about the VA hospital for any veteran who is suffering from vision loss, primarily macular degeneration, but any form of vision loss. The last role there is prosthetics. They're probably the one that you're least going to talk to, but they're the ones who buy what the first 4 people tell them to buy. So you might coordinate, when is this coming? Is this coming? So you might know that name, prosthetics. Some VAs are smaller, and you might even be dealing directly with the prosthetics agent. So there's a little joke about the VA that we've learned here, and it's kind of spread, is I went early on in my career to one VA. I thought, okay, I went to one VA. Now I know how the VAs work. And I went to the next VA, and they all work differently. Went to the next VA, the third one, it worked differently. Went to the fourth one, it worked differently. So the joke is, when you've seen one VA, you've seen one VA. So please get to know your VA and learn how the roles are coordinated. Sometimes the VIS coordinator is doing everything. Sometimes the optometrist is the one that is more profiled and does everything. Sometimes it's the BROS. I know that in Maine, the BROS does quite a bit, more so than anybody else. So every state is different, every area is different, but when you've seen one VA, you've seen one VA. So that's important to know. So please get to know your VA. And you can go to this website that I have posted on there. And again, this information, you can take screenshots of this presentation if it's helpful for you to take a screenshot, but no, the presentation will be available afterwards, and you'll get a copy of it, so you'll have access to all of this content. But this is a website that gives you some added information about the VAs and blind rehabilitation services. Okay, moving on to Dr. Toomey. So Dr. Toomey has been a low vision doctor, optometrist for about 30 years. She is an adjunct clinical faculty member at the MCPHS School of Optometry. That's a tongue twister. That's the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. It's a college of optometry headquartered in Worcester, Massachusetts. She has a Bachelor of Education from Holy Cross, and she got her optometry degree at the New England College of Optometry, which is the second college of optometry here in Massachusetts. So there are two of them. Not all states, not all regions have two colleges of optometry, but we have two here in Massachusetts. Dr. Toomey graduated from one and works at the other. She specializes in low vision and vision rehabilitation and has served the low vision community of Central Massachusetts for 30 years. She, as I mentioned, graduated from the New England College of Optometry and Holy Cross. Holy Cross, for those of you who don't know, is here in Worcester. Before joining MCPHS as a clinical faculty member in 2017, she was in private practice, and she also served as a clinical faculty member at her own alma mater, the New England College of Optometry in Boston from 2008 to 2017. And currently she's on the board of directors at Audio Journal, which is a nonprofit agency here in Worcester that reads the newspaper to people who are blind or low vision. There's probably a place like Audio Journal in your neck of the woods that reads the local newspaper to you, but she's on the board here in Worcester. So with that, I'm going to pull up another screen where I get with Dr. Toomey, so just bear with me 1 second while I do that. And Aaron, if you could just validate that I am on the right spot in just a second. And we're there, and we'll share that, new share. Okay, so now we're going to hear from, give me 1 second. And let me get this down. What? Put that down, and technical difficulties. 1 moment. Let me see what I'm seeing. Okay. So, Aaron, are you seeing the video screen for Dr. Toomey now?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So the train is on track. So here is Dr. Toomey. I think she's wonderful, and you're going to get a chance to hear from her. And I wish she was in your area of the country. She does a great service here to the people in Central Massachusetts. So here's Dr. Toomey.
Hello, everyone. As Scott said, I am clinical adjunct faculty at the Eye and Vision Center at MCPHS University School of Optometry. So today I thought I would come at this from the point of a low vision exam, since that's what my specialty is. So simply stated, functional vision to me is the way that the body's visual system, which includes the eye and the brain, interacts with the surroundings in order to accomplish activities of daily living. Now, for those of us who are essentially normally sighted, the visual system works pretty well to accomplish these activities. For those patients who have a visual impairment or any degree of visual loss, the system doesn't work so well. So that's where we all come into play, along with a multidisciplinary group team, which you are a part of, I imagine. It includes physicians, OTs who are trained in vision rehab, orientation and mobility instructors, assistive technology specialists like here at New England Low Vision, TVI, social workers, and the list can go on. So that's really the model that I like to follow when I'm referring patients out for additional help. So I thought that I would kind of bring you into the clinic and tell you how we approach our new low vision patients. Because a lot of times they come in and they really don't know why they're there. They think it's a regular eye exam and we need to explain to them exactly what's going to happen. So I usually begin by welcoming them and telling them that their referring doctor thought that they would benefit from a low vision exam, which I think is synonymous with a functional vision exam. And I tell them that it's a little bit different exam. Some of the things that we do will be very familiar to them, but other tests and data that we collect will be a bit different. So what's the difference? Well, if you come in for a routine eye exam, like most of you have probably had, the emphasis is not only correcting your vision with a pair of glasses, but it's an ocular health assessment, looking at the health of the eye, looking for disease, treating disease. This is a little bit different because our focus is not primarily on that. We want to be able to spend most of our time on the functional vision aspect. So we don't spend a whole lot of time dilating patients and looking at health assessment. I kind of leave that to the referring doctors. So having said that to the patient, I tell them that our goal, and these exams are very goal orientated for us and the patient, is to help them see the best they can to do what they want to do and what they need to do. Now, visual acuity doesn't always correlate to visual function, as a lot of you probably know. We can have patients in the clinic whose vision you would think is pretty good, 20/20 to 20/40, even 20/70. 20/70 allows you to drive daytime in Massachusetts, so why should a patient have a problem? But there are things that can occur in their functional day-to-day lives that are interrupted because of another impairment. So they may have decreased contrast sensitivity, and that may be because they have glaucoma. They may have field cuts because they have suffered a stroke, yet their central vision is still 20/20 or 20/16. They may have photophobia because they've had a traumatic brain injury or have suffered a concussion. So we see patients, with very seemingly normal vision, all the way to patients who have been registered as legally blind. So the ultimate goal, again, is to meet the goals of our patients. And patients have a lot of different goals. And we usually start by asking them, if they can't enumerate what their goals are, what it is that they're having difficulty with. And we usually start with the near vision. There's a lot of tasks that may be giving them difficulty. Simply reading, that's usually at the top of everyone's list. Reading tags, labels, menus, mail, newspaper, church bulletins, you name it, patients will have difficulty in this area. Distance vision, they're having trouble seeing the TV, seeing faces, driving, signs in stores, the fast food menu at a Starbucks or a McDonald's, aisle signs in the grocery store. They may have things that are bothering them as far as lighting goes. They may be bothered by too much light, too little light, harsh glare, decreased contrast. And they may have trouble ambulating because not only their field loss, but also their acuity. The one thing I do try to do right at the beginning of the exam is temper expectations about glasses. Now, everyone comes to the clinic and they want the magic glasses, and we would love to give them that. And so I explain to patients that our first and foremost goal is to give them the best prescription that we can. But I emphasize the fact that it's not always about glasses. Glasses will only do so much. And if they're enough to achieve their goal, that's great. But if they're not, and I try to keep it positive here, that's the reason that they're here, because we take the next step. We offer devices, strategies, techniques, whatever it takes to help them do what they would like to do in their activities of daily living. Now, I can go through the full exam and show them every device in our arsenal. And ultimately, there are times where they say to me, but you're going to give me a new pair of glasses, right? So that's always a little frustrating. I know we probably have all heard that. But again, I try to keep it positive and show them the things that will help them. Well, I would say the most important thing sometimes, and it sometimes sounds really simplistic, but lighting is often a patient's best friend. I mean, we can all appreciate good lighting. And I tell the students this all the time, that just instructing the patient on how to use good direct illumination can sometimes be the only thing that we do for a patient, but it makes a huge difference. So they hear me say time and time again, okay, Mrs. Jones, you can't rely on your nice overhead lighting or your pretty side lamps. Oh, but I just got the new LED lights and they're everywhere in my home. I'm saying, yes, that's great, but you need a light pointed directly on what you're looking at, perpendicular to your reading material. And we demonstrate that to them. And lo and behold, the newspaper all of a sudden becomes readable. And I know it sounds so simple, but sometimes that's all it takes. The other thing that I tell the students time and time again is never underestimate the power of a filter or a tint. So what do tints do? Well, if a patient is scoring poorly on a contrast sensitivity test, we know that maybe introducing a tint, particularly a yellow tint in most cases, will help increase contrast. So all of a sudden that newspaper, which is kind of gray on gray, becomes more readable because we've increased contrast with a yellow tint. A TBI patient or a post-concussion patient typically will favor a blue tint because it makes them more comfortable. I always tell the story about a patient of ours who came in and she had macular degeneration. And every time she went into a big box store, the overhead lighting was just so harsh, she just couldn't manage it. It was just too distressful for her to be in a store. So we tried some of our FL41s, which is kind of a light plum tint for those of you that aren't familiar with it. But any of the light plum tints usually work pretty well. And she came back for her follow-up and she was practically in tears. And she said, "You've changed my life." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm glad. So what devices?" No, it wasn't the device. It was that tint you gave me, because now I can go into a store and I'm comfortable. I can do what I need to do. And that was just such a great example for the students that sometimes it's the simple things that make the biggest difference. We also have a lot of our patients, particularly with macular degeneration, who say to me, "Gee, I can't sign my name on a straight line. I go uphill, I go downhill. I can't do my checks because it's all over the place. I can't write a list out for my daughter to go grocery shopping because it's such a mess." Well, we've got all this technology, but the one simple thing that makes a difference is a signature guide, which, some of you may be familiar with. Some of us call it typoscopes, but it's just this little window that you place on a straight line so that the patient can write their name straight or make a list straight. So again, a lot of this is simple. It certainly gets a bit more complicated when we start introducing devices, but we do try to keep it simple at first. So one of the things that I'm pretty adamant about I would really like my colleagues and physicians and teachers, anyone who interact with patients, to really recommend that patients come in for an evaluation sooner than later. So in other words, if patients are telling their ophthalmologist that, you know, they're having trouble reading or doing a particular task, I'd rather see these patients earlier than later because they have some functional vision available now. And if it changes, at least they've been introduced to what's available to them at a low vision clinic. So that's something that I've kind of been a cheerleader for, and it's gotten better. People are making earlier referrals. The saddest thing is when you make a referral at the point where the patient is legally blind and we don't have a whole lot of functional vision to work with, or not as much as we'd like to. And I'm just glad that they get there, because way back in the day when I first started doing this, patients didn't even know that vision rehab existed. But the earlier the better. So if you're in a position to refer patients who have any functional vision goals or who describe any activity of daily living that they're having difficulty, go ahead and kind of get them in the system early. And I think that's going to be really helpful for them. So I think I've covered what I wanted to cover. I know it was kind of low vision 101, the cliff notes, but hopefully there was some good takeaways from that.
All right, so let me go back to the other screen. Give me a second. You share and
Existed, but the earlier the better. So if you're in a position to refer patients who have any functional vision goals or who describe any activity.
Let's turn that away and let's go back to here and let's do the new share. And okay, so Erin, are you seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me click that here. Bear with me. And there we go. Okay. So, okay, so that's Dr. Toomey. And Dr. Toomey, I did hear a whisper that she is going to be soon retiring. She looks too young to retire, but she's a great resource here in Central Massachusetts, and I'm glad you had a chance to hear a little bit about her. We're going to be hitting on and just kind of touching some of the things that she said in her presentation, which for me is always really valuable to hear because I'm not a doctor, and it's good to hear what they're going through, which is a little bit different than what we go through and also very similar too. So we'll share some of those similarities and differences. So here we go. I'm going to now kind of kick it up a notch. I wanted you to know that the energy is going to change a bit, and it's going to be more, I think, fast-paced with content. And I think I said before, I apologize if I'm going to be yelling at you. I'm not yelling. I might be emphasizing some things a little bit more strongly just to make sure that the particular point is heard with emphasis if it's that important to make sure that you know. So the first thing I want to make sure, I want to actually begin with is this question. When people come in here, there is this feeling of, you know, what am I going to do? That's not a misprint. It is that cry, you know, when you have that cry in you, it's not like, oh, what am I going to do today? Not kind of flippant like that. This is desperate. What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's that space, it's that emotion, that desperate cry is where we meet a lot of people. So there is that feeling of feeling helpless. And the feeling of feeling helpless, sometimes I got a couple of images on this. One is this poor little goldfish, you know, in the bag of water, with the water dripping out. And so what we're going to try to do in this presentation is move from this feeling of helplessness, from this fog, into focus, into function, and having that path a little bit more clear and bright, so you know kind of where to go. Another image that came up when I was looking at these things, it kind of captures the emotion a lot of times, is that the image you're seeing now on screen, and some of you can't see what that is, but that's a little tiny sailboat in a very big ocean. And that's kind of how people feel. Like, I'm just wandering around. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. And I wouldn't even know how to begin. So that's that feeling of helplessness, as like you're feeling like a boat or a raft in a large ocean. And again, we want to kind of make that path clear, move from fog to focus to function. That's the point of the presentation today. So what do we want to start with? So Dr. Toomey mentioned it. You remember what it was? I mentioned it in the beginning too, but we want to begin with this one word so that you all know and so that it's clear. And we want to start with lighting. All right. Lighting is huge. Shut off the lights in your room right now, or when it's dark out. Are you going to see anything? So the eyes need light. Lighting is one of the most important things that's most often overlooked. You need good lighting. Dr. Toomey mentioned the light needs to be perpendicular to your reading task. So there's a desk light that you need and a floor light. I would say that if I go to say, you need this, you or the clients that you serve, I would say need this. You need to get them a desk light, a desk lamp and a floor lamp. So I went and I bought some of these too. And I would say that the two most important or the two most popular brands in New England being purchased by the VA, by state governments, by nonprofits, they're kind of tested and true for a long time now, are these two, the Verilux or the Stella. Now, what I did is I bought one of each. I wanted to try them out, and I like them both. The one on the left, the desk light, is the Verilux, and this one has a very wide, broad beam. And, you know, most lights have more of a laser beam or a direct light. This one is more of a broad, white, bright light, okay? The other one, the Stella, what I like about that one is the one that I purchased is the floor lamp, the one that you see there. And this one here is the, has a rheostat that comes with it. So I'm going to do something in the room here for a second. Let me see if you can see this behind me. I'm going to get out of the screen so you can see the light behind me. Alexa, turn blue. Whoop. Okay. Alexa, turn light yellow. Okay. Alexa, turn light white. Okay. Alexa, light dimmer. Okay. Alexa, light brighter. Okay. Okay. So I wanted to show you that. Now I'm gonna reference that technology again, and not call her name out. So when I call her in the future, I'll call her Lady A, so she doesn't wake up. But the one on the right there, Stella, comes with a rheostat, a remote control rheostat, that you can regulate the intensity of the light, and you also can change the color of the light. So this is very helpful when I'm reading, because at different times I want brighter lights or dimmer lights. And lighting affects each person differently. Sometimes in the beginning of the day, when you have a good night's sleep and your energy is strong, you'll take a brighter light. But when the end of the day comes around, you might want a dimmer light or a yellow light or a bluish light. Someone else might be very sensitive to light all the time. And so it's very personal. It's very specific to each person. And everyone has a unique reception to light, but you have to start with lighting and make sure that you have good light. You don't want those incandescent lights that are yellow way off in the corner of your room thinking that they're helpful. They're not. A lot of times people come into this office and the lights above me right now, they're all these very large fluorescent lights. Sometimes these are too strong. And so we turn off all the lights in the showroom here at times, but we have a conversation about lighting when someone comes in. So I want to emphasize lighting. The one you just saw me do with Lady A behind me when I called her name out, the Amazon lady technology with a smart home, that's extremely helpful too, because you can, I mean, my 12-year-old, when he was 12 years old at the time, 3 years ago, he set it up for me. So, the younger, the better know how to set this up using that technology, Alexa. She might wake up because I said her name, Lady A. So connect your smart lights.
I don't know that one.
Oh, there she is. Connect your smart lights. They're very affordable. They're very easy to set up. If you're in the New England area, you can always hire us to set them up, but you don't need to do that. You can ask the VA to help you do that. You can ask maybe a state government, maybe a nonprofit agency who likely has it as a free service to help spend the time and set them up, or ask one of your friends or family. Again, the younger, the better. It was my 12-year-old, as I mentioned, who did it for us. So it's very important to get good lighting. Think about it, prioritize it, think through the rooms in your house. You got to put these goals into motion and think this through, because it'll make a dramatic impact on the day-to-day functional living of the person with low vision. Dramatic. So please think about lighting. We start out with it as the first thing, and I wanted to make sure that you heard it as a top priority. And it's also what Dr. Toomey mentioned, if you can remember her mentioning it too. Okay, let's move on from that and go into the next part, how to clear the fog and to get functional. Everything's, that foggy point of what am I going to do? You're feeling alone. You're feeling like you're on low vision island, as I mentioned in the beginning. And so the critical question is this: what is the goal? We have to ask that. Everyone has to ask that. And when I mention this, when I'm talking about this, you know intuitively that this is the most important thing. But often most people don't ask themselves this question: what is the goal? So what I did is I put up some images right now. I found some images of these big box stores that Dr. Toomey mentioned that we've all been in, Home Depot or Target or Lowe's. You walk into those stores and what they have, an enormous amount of product. So what directs you to where you want to go? It is that question. What's the goal? So let's say I'm going into Home Depot or Lowe's and I need a hammer, because the goal is what's the goal? I need to hit a nail, right? So I asked the representative there, can you point me in the direction of the hammers? So for us in low vision with technology, when you've been diagnosed with low vision, you have to ask the question, what's the goal? Another way of saying it is, what is the job, right? What is the job, or what is the goal? And, when I ask that question to people who come into our showroom here, I say, I know what is the main thing you want to see? And one answer is, well, everything. I want to see everything better. I know that, but we have to prioritize it, because there isn't one technology that is like the human eye, where it helps to see everything. So it's technology that's going to assist. It's assistive technology. And so we have to look at it as a tool in the toolbox. What does this technology do? What is the purpose of this tool? Is it a hammer? Is it a screwdriver? Is it a saw? Is it a pliers? What is this tool and what does it do? And so I have to ask you, what is the priority of what you want to do? And so what I try to get is the emotion, is what is the one thing that's driving you crazy? Like, what is it that you just wish, like, if I could just see this easier? And a lot of times for me personally, it's the microwave instruction on the food item I want to Krug, and I can't see it. I don't have low vision. I wonder, how do people get by who are my customers seeing this? I know that I have a trouble seeing that, but it's a lot of times it's, you know what, I would love to just read something simple as just reading and sorting my mail. I got to wait for someone to come over and have them read it to me. If I could just do that, or you know what, I had to surrender my finances to someone else. I enjoy doing that. I want to know what these bills are. I want to be able to write the checks, and I want to feel useful doing that. I would love to manage my finances. Or, no, I really enjoyed working with my hands with crocheting or some type of craft or hobby, painting or crossword puzzles. So I want to prioritize what is the specific goal, because when we do that, what do? You see the things pop on screen. We put the target up. Then we can shoot for the target and hit it. And we know what tool, because these are expensive tools, and we want to make sure we're getting the right tool for the priority, for the right job. So I have to say that that one question, what is the goal, does separate one visitor to our showroom from the next. This goes back 30 years. All right. Everyone walking in here is different. You're different from your spouse, and so on and so forth. So a lot of times we'll say, it's not what you think, the surrogate other family member who comes with them, spouse, son or daughter, friend. It's important what the person thinks. And so what is their goal? What's important to them? It's very important to know that at the top. Okay, moving on. How to clear the fog and get functional. I went earlier on in the outline and I mentioned that we all live in two worlds. Did you know that? Well, the two worlds that we live in, what are they? Let's name them. The first world that we all live in and we have to access is the digital world. Everything that's in our electronic stuff. The second world is the non-digital world, everything outside our electronic stuff. So these two worlds I am identifying right off the bat, because we're going to be referring back to them. We have to solve these. We all live in these two worlds differently. Some people say, I don't use the computer at all. Okay, that's fine. Then we just know we're talking about now the non-digital world, everything outside the electronic stuff. Sometimes the non-digital world is referred to as, or we refer to it as the paper world. So I'm holding up papers, right? We have, everyone has papers, mail, newspapers, prescription labels, receipts, photographs, bills, all of that paper world is non-digital. Okay, so those are the two worlds that we live in. Let's start with expanding that a bit more. What is the digital world? The digital world, as I mentioned, is your electronics. What are they? It's your laptop, it's your tablet, it's your phone, whether it's an Android or a Mac. It could be your TV set. How do I watch TV more easily? We're going to get into that a little bit more too. It's also your smart home. I mentioned her before behind me. Lady A, or the Google Home system, or there are a number of other ones. Lady A, the Amazon lady, you know who she is, seems to be by far and away the most popular, and most people have that. And we use that a lot too. When we do our training with people, it's usually on smart homes with the Amazon brand, Lady A. The non-digital world. What is the non-digital or paper world? Okay, let's go through some of those examples we mentioned. These are things like the bill, all right? Or the mail is piling up. Wouldn't it be good to just sort through the mail, get rid of the junk and know what's important and what's not and read it? Then the newspapers. Most people are not reading newspapers in hard copy, but as soon as you say that, there are many who are. So how do I read the newspaper? Then it is all of these files. Don't you like thinning your files down? Well, a lot of people like thinning their files or organizing their files. They have all these files and now all this time. They would just love to be able to organize the files, get their affairs in order. How do you see that if you have low vision? Then it is the prescription bottles. Aren't they hard to read? How do you read these things? What's the expiration date on them? I got to go call it in. What's the RX number? What is the phone number I have to call? So these are non-digital examples. Another one is the restaurant menu. A lot of times when people try to fake it, that they can't see it, they have the technique of saying, well, what do you recommend? And ask the waitress or the waiter. But it'd be nice to be able to see the restaurant menu and to notice what the specials are. Often the restaurant menus are changing. And so that is an example of some of the non-digital paper world. Another one, and probably one of the more bigger ones to emphasize, is something that's not very functional. Like some of all those other examples that you see pictured on there, reading the bank statement, newspaper, restaurant menu, filing cabinets, file folders, all of these are busy work. They're process steps. They're tasks, they're items to keep you busy, which is all good. But the last one, the photograph, I would say that when people buy the technology, that is probably one of the most enjoyable parts of the technology, is looking at photographs of a recent family gathering or taking out an old album of events that happened in the past and reliving them and looking through them and saying, oh my gosh, look at that guy. You know, if it was me, he had hair 30 years ago. Now, is that Scott? He has no hair today. So, no, or I didn't know they had, you know, a barrette or changed their hair color. All those different odds and ends that are personal to family and friend relationships are captured in a photograph. You know, picture tells 1,000 words, as you know. And whether the photograph is on your device or whether it's a hard copy, you can see it using a non-digital machine. So all of these examples are examples of non-digital things outside your device. Okay, so now that we kind of labeled them, the digital world and the non-digital world, let's move and advance the ball forward to some tips. So now we can funnel the information, right? So the information, you know, you have two worlds to start with. We're gonna go into the digital world. All right, they're pictured on the left, the things that we mentioned so far: the computer, the tablet, the phone, the smart home, TV. All right, so here are some functional tips. And again, I want to remind you, you're all going to have access to this later, this presentation. So feel free to write it down or feel free to just wait for it. Either way is fine, but don't get stressed if you miss, if I'm going too fast and you're not able to write it down. All right, here we go. The first one, digital world, functional tips. We ask people, what are you using? Are you using a PC or a Mac? Those are the only two types of computers. So you have to know whether you're using a Mac or PC, and most people do. I would say about 95% or higher of the people coming to see us know whether they're using a Mac or a PC. And there are differences, but we have to go walk through them. All right, I want to let you know that for the most of my career, I was a PC guy, all right, a personal computer. And that's usually Microsoft technology, or they used to be called IBM technology or Dell technology or Compaq. Everyone has different brands of this hardware using the Microsoft software, but that's called a PC. So I used to be a PC guy, and about 6-7 years ago, I converted to a Mac, and it was the best decision I ever made. And then I converted the company to a Mac. And so this is always like Red Sox, Yankees, right? PC, Mac. Those who are loyal to the Red Sox don't want to hear anything about the Yankees, and vice versa. Those who like the PC don't want to hear anything about the Macs, like conservative Democrat or Republican Democrat. So it's like there are strong loyalties. It's almost like a religion. If you're to talk about one or the other with this is sometimes crossing a line. But I wanted to let you know that in each of these that are personal to you, that's okay. We just have to go through them and ask these questions. So number one is, are you using the accessibility functions that are built into your system? Huh? That's what we hear a lot. Huh? What did you say? the accessibility functions that are built into your Mac or PC, are you activating them? Huh? I didn't even know that they were there. Yes, they're there. They come inside the system and they're deactivated because the makers of the Mac and the PC, the makers of Mac is Apple or PC is a number of brands, they think, and rightly so, demographically, that most of their buyers are not low vision. Most can see the computer. So they deactivate this functionality. So you need to activate and look into the accessibility functions of your PC or Mac. So number 2 is monitor. It just happened again in the last couple of weeks. The person who I saw has a Mac and he's visually impaired and he's using a laptop. And right now I'm speaking to you through a laptop, and the laptop is 12 inches. And so I know the size of the MacBook Pro, it's 12 inches. That's what he's using. I said, is that your monitor? And he says, yeah, I can hardly see it. I was like, of course you can't see it. It's too small. So you need to get a bigger monitor. So I want to let you know what I use. Now, I don't have low vision, and this is what I use. And so I'm using this as a base to let you know that I recommend at least this for you. All right. In my office at work, at my workstation, I have 2 32-inch monitors, 2 of them. And someone showed it to me one time. I thought, huh, that's interesting. That's pretty big. And I said, I'm going to try that one day. So I got an opportunity to try it. And I have to tell you, the first week, I didn't like it. Too much data across 2 screens. But now, it was after a week later of using it, it grew on me and I really love it. So I have 2 32-inch monitors. With a monitor, especially with macular degeneration, which is what most of the audience has, not all, but with a monitor for a computer, bigger is often better. However, there is a guy who, and I'm going to mention his name so you can write this down. This will not be in your handouts, but this is a great tip. His name is Sam, and he has a YouTube channel called The Blind Life, L-I-F-E, The Blind Life. And Sam is visually impaired, and Sam has central vision loss, very similar to macular degeneration. And Sam's job, his business, is to create good video content. The more substantial and authentic video content that is good, the more followers he has, the more YouTube can charge for advertising, the more money that Sam makes. So Sam's only job is to make good videos and to give good content about technology for people with low vision. So he's a very strong business, in my opinion, and he assesses and judges and gives his opinion on almost all of the technology in the market. Okay, so Sam is his name, and his channel is called The Blind Life on YouTube. So Google Sam from The Blind Life and you'll see all of his videos. One of the videos, he shows the monitor that he uses, and this is why I'm bringing him up, and I'll bring him up later too, is that he does not use what I use. He does not use 2 32-inch monitors. He uses 1 43-inch monitor, 43-inch monitor. And these are measured diagonally. So a 43-inch monitor is a large monitor. So I thought, one day I'm going to try that. And so at home, some time ago, I bought a 43-inch monitor. So at work, I use 2 32 inches. At home, I use the 43-inch. And I have to say, I love the 43-inch. So I know now, when I talk to clients, what each one is like and the benefits of one over the other. And I would recommend, if you have macular degeneration, to try the 43-inch monitor first. This is something that you can get fairly easy at Amazon or Best Buy. You can transact. You want an HDMI monitor, which is almost 100% of all monitors now. They have different price ranges. Probably want a 4K resolution. would be sufficient enough, and get one that is within your budget. And you can connect then your computer to that monitor so that it displays on the larger monitor. You will need an adapter. Those are very inexpensive, and they probably cost about 30 bucks or so for an adapter to connect the cord to the monitor. And then it just works seamlessly. So when I have my laptop, I bring it to work, hook it up to the 232 inches. It connects like that. My screens are filled with the information. It's extremely useful to me. When I'm at home, I take my laptop, hook it up to that, connects in an instant, and have it on a large 43 inch. So for a retirement community, a lot of retirement communities have a library. A lot of retirement communities have a technology room. If you're a retirement community, if you're in charge of one, think about strongly getting a large 43-inch monitor for all of your residents to use when they're using the computer. Even those who do not have a visual impairment will love the 43-inch. And especially those who have a visual impairment will love the 43-inch. So in your library or in your technology wing of that kind of resource part of your community center, where you might have computers, get a larger monitor. If you're at home and not in a retirement community, get a larger monitor. If you're recommending technology to people and you have not recommended this yet, please recommend this. It is an amazing game. You know, some things are game changers and some things are life changers. This is a life changer. This will change someone's day-to-day life in a functional way for using the digital world, the technology. So it works for PC, it works for Mac. Okay, let's move on. PC. You have the ability on a PC, and most people don't know this, already built into almost every PC software nowadays. So if you haven't upgraded your operating system software in years, it may not be activated. But if you have the up-to-date software in the last couple of years, this, what I'm going to tell you next, is already activated. And I'm telling you, I told this to my mother maybe about a year ago. I was visiting there and she was complaining about, and she doesn't have low vision, but she has age-related vision loss, and she just wishes she could see the screen. Now, her screen's too far away. I tell her to move it closer. Her screen is too small. Like, I can get you a bigger screen. Doesn't want it. Okay. All right. Okay, Mom. But I say, here's what you want to do. So this tip I'm going to tell you is extremely important. If you have a PC, a Mac is something different. We'll go into that next. If you have a PC, on your keyboard, there is an icon that's to the left of your space bar. You have a space bar, and you have the Alt key on most keyboards. And then you have an icon. It's called the Windows icon key. It's an icon of the Windows icon from Microsoft. Okay, so space bar, Alt key, Windows icon. You want to hold that icon down and then tap, tap, tap the plus key on the right side of your keyboard. A lot of keyboards have that numeric keyboard to the right. If you have a smaller keyboard where it does not have a numeric key, then use the plus key on the keyboard. It's above the equal sign on the far right. All right, so first you got to hold down the Windows icon key and then tap, tap, tap the plus key. That will make your whole universe of your screen not one window. This will make the whole universe bigger, bigger, bigger. This changes everything, okay? Because a lot of people know how to make a window bigger, but not the whole universe of your screen. If you need it smaller, if it's too big, Windows icon key, the minus button, smaller, 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 okay? I'm going to hold up a keyboard. Okay, this is a large print keyboard, one of the ones that we offer here. And I'm going to put my finger on that key on this keyboard right up front. So that's the key, the Windows icon key. So it goes space bar, it goes Alt key, then Windows icon. And when I did this to my mother, when I showed her this, you would thought I'd given her just, I don't know, you would have thought I've come back home to live with her. She was so excited. She was so happy about this feature. I mean, this just changed her world every day because she uses the computer, as a lot of people do with their computers. They use it every day. So some of you might already know this, but I would almost guarantee you that 98% of the people living in the retirement community, 98% or higher, do not know this functionality. And it's already built into their technology. And then if you already combine this with a larger monitor, whoa, you just changed their world, okay? So Windows icon key, plus, 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 bigger. Windows icon key, hold it down, plus, plus, minus, 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 smaller. And that's how you make your whole screen bigger. You're gonna use it in conjunction with your mouse. Okay, so if you scroll to the left, you'll see more of the screen, scroll to the right, more of the screen, scroll up, more of the screen, scroll down. So you do have to get used to how to navigate with your mouse. But what it really is helpful for is seeing the drop down choices of like file, menu, edit, all of those drop downs in each of your softwares. It shows you what they are in a large display, which you would never get when just magnifying a particular window that you have open. So this functionality changes the whole universe of your Windows, of the PC. Okay, let's go one step further of these tips. The Mac, how do you do that? The Mac goes you have to go one step further. And when I show this to people on their Mac, it also, not a game changer, this is a life changer. They do not know that this feature exists. And so the percentage is, again, 98% of people in a retirement community who have a Mac don't know this exists. So what you want to do here is you want to go into the accessibility feature of your system preferences and find magnifier, and you have to activate it. When you activate it, you'll have a drop-down menu of choices of whether you want to use your command key as the main key to hold down, or your control key, or another key. I use the command key. Those of you who use a Mac like me, the command key is usually the key that is being used on a lot of interactions. So I just kept it the same and I use the command key. So like the PC, where they use the Windows icon, when I activated it now, I hold the command key down and I'm just using the scroll wheel on my mouse to make it bigger and smaller. It's so easy. It's so convenient. I'm going to do it here on the screen here, and you're going to see the whole screen get bigger. You ready? I think the whole screen is going to get bigger. All right, really big. I'm going to move around it a bit and make the screen move. You're only seeing a portion of the screen because it's being magnified right now. But this is making the screen bigger, and now make it smaller. All right, back to the size. So I use this all the time, and I mentioned that I don't have low vision, but I love just getting a quick snapshot of what's going on. I don't have to strain my eyes and look in, and then put it back down to the normal size. So I use this all the time. Those two functional tips for the digital world are incredible. And if you're using them, you're way ahead of the game. And just so you know, now it's your responsibility to be an acolyte out there and tell people about it. All right, because this will change your life. So you know this, pass it on. People will love you for it, and it will change their day-to-day. Okay, the next one I'm going to say is the reader view. So Erin, heads up to you. I am going to do a new share. Let's try and find this. We're going to go back to, I think, here. I'm going to show you what this is. Let's share. Let's go back to the internet. And give me a second. Let me just get a new tab over here. Let me see if I can get this back on my other screen here so I can see it easily. Are you seeing the internet now, Erin?
No, I just see a large white line down the middle with 2 black spaces on either side.
All right, let me just do the new share again. Give me a second. Let me share that screen. What about now? You seeing Dr. Toomey again?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do a new tab here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull that up. Okay, so let's type in an address here. Let's just do, we'll do for each member of the audience, we'll do one of each. So CNN News. All right, so this, what I'm showing you now is reader view on a Mac. Let's just say, let's not use the headlines of today. Let's do something, let's do sports. So it's a little bit. All right, let's do sports. All right, so on any website that has news, and a lot of people use their digital machines to see news rather than hold the newspaper. So let's go to a news article, and I'm just gonna pull one up here. Green Bay Packers trade Davante Adams. Okay, there we go. And this is what's typical on most news websites. Here what we have on top, I think you all can see, is there's an ad. Then there's the article, and then to the right of that picture, there's more ads. So this is if you have a Mac. All right, if you have a Mac, then what you want to do is up here on a Mac, see where my mouse is way on top? Up by the bar, there's a little tiny icon there. I'm going to click on it. And that made it reader view. So what did that do? That stripped away the ad on top. It stripped away the ads on the right. And it is just showing me the news article. So this, all of those pop-ups, all of those just annoying flashing things to the side where they're trying to get your attention, aside from what you want to read, is now gone. So this is helpful. Now I'm going to go back to the scroll wheel and make this bigger. So I think you're still seeing that same article, just a little bit bigger. And I can make it even bigger if I wanted to fill the screen. So this here allows me to read that news story. And Erin, that is centered right on your screen, so you guys can see that. I think it is, but
It is centered, but it did not zoom in when you.
Oh, it didn't zoom in. Oh, I'm sorry.
It didn't.
I don't know why. See, that's funny. That's pretty. That's like an irony, right? Or we're using Zoom, the software, to display this video, but Zoom doesn't allow me to use the zoom feature that is on the Mac. How funny is that? Well, you get the point that on your screen now, all of the ads and all the noise is gone, and I'm just having the article with a key picture or two that just gives me some reference points as I read it. So that's a much easier read. And if you're a person who just likes to digest news and information, this one little thing called Reader View is very helpful for just getting you to the nuts and bolts of what it is that you want to read. Okay, so you're not using a Mac. You want to use a PC. Then you need, you know what, I have found that when I don't use a PC, but when I recommend people to use a PC, who are using a PC to do this, I use something that I'm familiar with, which a lot of people use from Google. So it's Google Chrome. So let me just go to Google Chrome on my machine. Give me a second. And that's loading up right now. And I might need to share that screen because I'm not sharing that screen. So give me a second and let me just do a new share. And I'll show it to you on Google Chrome. Right there is Google Chrome. So we're going to share that. I'm going to share that. Okay. So I think that you all now are seeing Google Chrome. Aaron, do you see Google Chrome now?
Yes.
Okay. I only have it on part of my screen. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now I have Google Chrome up. So this is this you can access. This is just a web browser that you can use on your PC. So let's do a different news station just to be balanced, right? Okay, so let's do Fox News. Okay, so here we are. There's the main page, right? Let's do something a little lighter. Click the sports section. All right, you have to install the widget, which is pretty easy. I'm not going to reinstall it, but it's a couple of clicks. You have to search Google, install the widget. And when you do, you have the icon right here. I believe this is it. I'm going to click this icon. First of all, I'm not going to click it. And so you see all this noise, right? All of this stuff on the right and the left. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me click a story. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me click a story. Did anyone watch the game last night when St. Peter's beat Kentucky? Oh man, my whole bracket was just ruined. So here you have the story of that upset, right? You have the big, you have the stuff on top. You have on the right-hand side all that noise. All right.
This
So
guy
now
was a sexually sadistic serial killer.
Let me pause that.
Tell us how this monster got up.
Boom. Get rid of that ad for a second. And let me go click on the reader view. Boom. And there you go. So now you have, again, all of that extemporaneous noise of your documents in a much more easily digestible fashion to read your news. And then you can use that first thing I just showed you, the magnification, which Zoom doesn't allow me to show, to make this little area much bigger to fill your 43-inch screen. What a delight. What a pleasure to read and access the internet using these tips. So if you have vision loss, use these two big, enormous tips. If you already knew this, please spread the word, because 98% or higher of those in a retirement community or your friends and neighbors don't even know about it. Okay, I'm going to go back to the presentation and stop this particular share. So again, Aaron, stick with me. And whoop, my whole thing went away. Let me see where I went. Share screen, and let's go back to here, which is the, where are we? Maybe it's that one. Nope, that's not that one. Let's do a new share. Sorry about that. Too many screens I have open at one time. Where is the, not that one, not that one. Where is that? Where is what I want? I want that. So, Aaron, what do you see on screen?
Back to the reader view on your Mac.
On my Mac. Okay, give me. Oh, so you're in the presentation?
No, you need to click on Keynote for us to be back on the presentation.
Hang on, hang on. I don't see Keynote. Let me see if I get it. Let me get rid of Chrome. Bear with me. Experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Let me get rid of this one here. I will just close out of this app. Quit that. Give me a second. Stick with me. I'll figure this out. I'll get off of this. I'll get back there. We will rescue the situation. What was this one here? Where did the Keynote go? Let's do stop share totally. Okay. And okay. Are you, I think you now are back on. Are you back on the Keynote now?
No, just the presentation, just you and everyone else. We're a Brady Bunch. There you go.
Where do you
Yep,
want
now
now?
we are.
You're on the keynote? Okay.
We're on the keynote now, yes.
Okay, give me a second. Let me get this away, and there it is. Okay. All right. And let me hit play where I was. Okay, now I'm back. Now the train is back on the track. Okay, so let me put this
Scott,
button.
you moved it off screen? Oh, there it is.
You see it now? Does it say digital
in a
world functional
slide.
fix?
It's
What's
in a
slide?
slide format, but being the one that you're on, and I'm seeing a different one, and it's counting down the time.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, so let's do this. Look at this. This is a live presentation for you. All right, now are you back on the presentation now? Or is
It is showing it as, it's showing it as navigator, so it's the current slide and the remaining slides.
Huh. Let's get this out of the way. And what about now?
Now I'm seeing the presentation, yes.
And oh, that all right, so let's do let's get this thing. Let's stop this share. Okay, now what do you see?
I see all of us.
All of you. What is going on here? All right. Okay. And okay, so sorry about this. Let's go up to only, I'll only put the one thing up on screen. Why is this so hard? Huh? Why is this so hard? Let's go put that, oh, wrong one. Bear with me. Apologies. What is the one that I want? Nope, not that one. Okay, so now we're going to share this screen. And what I want is the keynote. Now what do you see? Two screens still?
Still the two screens, yes.
Ah. How do I change that? Put you back here. Let's put this one back here. And now two screens?
Yes.
Still two screens. And now it's just the way that it is, the whole thing. Two screens back again.
Two screens back again.
Okay, let's all right. Let me do one more thing, and then if I can't figure it out, one more thing, then we're gonna take a break. All right, and I'll figure it out in a second. So let me just bear one thing. I'm going to quit this, and let's see if we can get it up again. Give me 1 second. Now you're just seeing the Zoom meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay. We didn't have these troubles. You'd think that we wouldn't didn't have these troubles on the last ones. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna find that meeting. It's loading up. Give me a second. Give me a second. We're almost there. Okay, get rid of that. Let's go back to here. Put this down. Let's go back to the desktop. Let's open this thing up. Okay, now let's go back to the Zoom and we're going to share the screen again. And we're going to go to that. And so now we are sharing the screen. And now you're seeing the PowerPoint. One screen or two?
Two screens.
Ah! All right, so we're going to get rid of the, now you see the one screen, right?
Correct.
Okay, unfortunately, we can't get it. And the last time I'll try it, I'll put it up here. And we'll share the screen up here, stop that share. And then we'll do a new share. And then the last time, then if we don't get it now, then we'll take a break because I want to figure this out. Share the screen, Keynote. And play.
You
What do you
got it.
I got it. Oh, hallelujah. We did it. Okay. So, gosh, what happened there? All right. So now, yeah, I think let's muscle through this and then we can go back to the, let's muscle through this until a break. Then we'll carry on. All right. Now we're back on track. So we went through some of these key functions that are just incredible for digital accessibility by helping to create some focus to the fog. All right, so we went through the larger monitor, the Windows icon, the PC and the Mac, the command key for the scroll wheel, the reader view on the Mac and on the Chrome. And I want to let you know that on your iPhone, there is that reader view on your iPhone in the same spot, right? On the web address, right? The little button to the left of the web address, and it's on your iPad. All right, I don't know if they have this on an Android. I'm still looking into that, but I can't find it yet. But if you have an Android phone, but on an iPhone or an iPad, which is what most people have, that reader view is really handy on your iPad and on your iPhone, and as well as on the MacBook or on the PC. Okay, so reader view is really important. Next, iPhone. Turn on magnifier. And so people go, yeah, well, I had someone come over and they made my screen bigger. I had the magnifier on. No, this is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that your phone, your iPhone, this is the iPhone, built into the operating system of this phone, okay, built into this thing is a magnifying glass, not an app. When the iPhone first came out, you had people competing for apps and people downloaded apps. Built into the iPhone operating system is a magnifier. It's just deactivated. So go into your accessibility functions and turn on magnifier, or do the drop down, do the search function, find magnifier and turn it on. When you turn the magnifier on, it's then a triple click. I'm gonna do it on mine. 1, 2, 3. And what you have is a magnifier. So now you're probably seeing me showing you the magnifier. And what I like about it is that if you can see me holding this, I'm showing the back, one of the back screens there, the back shelf, is I can just use one hand to make the image bigger. See that on one finger. So normally on a touch screen, you have to use 2 fingers. But with this magnifier app, you only need to use 1 finger. So 1 finger can make it bigger and smaller, which is everything. All right. So this little tip of turning on your magnifier, which after you activate it, it's triple click. If you have the older iPhones, triple click on the home button. If you have the newer iPhone, triple click on the side button, and that activates it. I use it all the time. Every day. I probably use it 10 times a day. All right. So you have a built-in magnifying glass on your iPhone that is deactivated. You also can add the flashlight. So here you go. 1, 2, 3, boom. Flashlight goes on. So if you're downstairs and you're in the electrical cabinet because the lights went out. Boom, turn on a flashlight. This is heavily used with restaurant menus, or I use it on almost anything I can't see, which is usually the microwave cooking instructions for the food item I want to cook. Do I have to poke a hole in the film? Do I have to remove the film? Does the film stay intact? You know, what is it? How long do I cook it? At what level? So this little functionality of activating the magnifier is huge. Again, not a game changer, a life changer. And again, 98% of those at the retirement community do not know about this functionality that they already have, that's in their device, that they're just not using. Okay, so turn on the magnifier of your iPhone. If you have an Android, you have to download an app, can do a very similar thing, but use your phone as a magnifying glass if you can. Now, some people can't, and that's fine too, and we'll get into other options. All right, apps. We're going to go into apps a bit more for your digital device. Now, we're still in the digital world. We didn't go into non-digital yet, okay? There's a lot of stuff that we're pouring out here by way of functional tips, and we're just giving you the headlines today, okay? So when we have training sessions, we kind of go into it a bit more, but we're giving you the headlines of things so you can take notes and know where to go into first to get some clarity and direction and focus. Okay, apps. You have to explore apps. What is an app? It's an abbreviation for the word application, or you can also say it's software. It's a software application that's on your device, or on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your computer. You have to know what apps are available, what are the kind of the key apps for what you want to do. So there are, if a lot of people have the iPhone, go to the App Store and download this one app that I have on screen, Seeing AI. Now we're going to go into a lot more apps in the next slide, but Seeing AI, a lot of people do know about it, but a lot of people don't. This is made ironically by Microsoft for Apple devices. All right, but Seeing AI is a free app, and it turns text into speech. It identifies money. It identifies color. It identifies scenes. Like, where am I? It identifies people. Now, I held it up to my wife, hit the button, and my wife's about 50. And it said, when I snapped the picture of her, and it said, a woman in her 30s looking, a woman in her 30s is in front of you, so 20 years younger. And she said, I love this app. So you'll have fun with it too, because it will tell you a bit about the people in front of you. But Seeing AI is a very popular app being used by all agencies, VA, state government, schools, all ages as well, agencies and ages. So young and old are using Seeing AI. That's one of the apps that we recommend you at least explore and look into. And we're going to go into a number of other ones in a minute. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to look into software. So let's go back to bullet number 1 in the accessibility functions of your PC. If those accessibility functions are insufficient, they do not help, then you have to buy software for your PC. And the leading software by far in America and around the world for a low vision is a software called Zoom Text. This is a large print software that enlarges all of your applications inside your PC. If you go to zoomtext.com, you can download a version of it and you can try it for free. Downloads in 40 minutes. I'm sorry, the download lasts 40 minutes and you got to reboot the computer and try again. At each point, the manufacturer is going to ask you, you want to buy it, you want to buy it, you want to buy it. If you're in New England, don't buy it. We're the only supplier of it in New England for all 6 states. Buy it from us. We give you a discount. Okay. but I wanted to alert you to Zoom text. I'm gonna give you 3 examples or maybe 4 of Zoom text, why it's a little bit more firepower than the built-in accessibility magnifier of your PC. Number 1, you can change the mouse pointer so that there's a crosshair, an XY axis. Right in the middle of your mouse point is the middle of the crosshair, so that whenever you move your mouse, this crosshair appears and shows you exactly the pinpoint spot of where your mouse is. A lot of times finding the mouse is one of the most difficult things. Number 2 is that area around the mouse. Another functionality, I'm making a circle with my hands right now, is you can make that area around the mouse a magnifying glass. And you can control the size of the magnification inside that area too. All outside that area of that circle is normal view, but wherever you move that mouse, that circle is a magnifying glass. So that has been very helpful for people. That's not available inside your PC as it is. Third one is you can split the screen so that half of the screen is normal size and the other half of the screen is your magnified size. Because whenever you magnify something, law of optics is the screen field of view gets smaller. Let's think of the word dog, D-O-G, right? If that word is very small, you can see that word and all the way around it, all the other words on the page. But if you can magnify the word dog where all you're seeing is the O on the screen, it's that big, you lose the field of view. So with that version of Zoom text where you split the screen, the bottom version of your monitor shows you the normal size, and the top version is the magnified size of your choice, which you can regulate. So these are 3 examples of a little bit more firepower for magnification if the built-in magnifier of your PC that you have to activate is insufficient. All right, another step forward is JAWS. Let's say you can't see your screen at all. How do people who are totally blind use the computer? They have the computer speak to them. And that software, the leading software by far, is JAWS. Okay, I think it stands for Access with Speech, just Access with Speech. I'm sorry, I don't know the acronym, but it's a screen reading software. It's the number one screen reading software in the market. And the owner of Zoom Text also owns JAWS. So their keystrokes and their ecosystem is very similar. So some people have a diminishing vision loss, and it's getting progressively worse, where they can start out on Zoom Text, but then they probably need to go to JAWS. So it's a similar ecosystem. The third one there, Fusion, is the fusing together of Zoom Text and JAWS. So they work interchangeably at the same time. A lot of times institutions, libraries, retirement communities, schools, governments will purchase Fusion. When you purchase Fusion, you get 3 things: a full working copy of Zoom Text loads on your desktop, a full working copy of the JAWS software on your desktop, and a full working copy of Fusion, which blends them together. So one user might be able to use Zoom Text, one user can use JAWS, another user of the terminal that's used in common in the retirement community, for example, a third person can use Fusion, where they blend them together. So those are the 3 main softwares that you want to look into if the built-in accessibility features are not working, okay? If you're using a Mac, I didn't put it on screen, but if you're using a Mac, Mac has the built-in softwares already included in your purchase. Some people say, I'm paying a bit more for the Mac. Well, they give you a lot more in the Mac. So with the Mac, they do have a magnification software. I think it's called Magnifier. You have to activate it. And they also have a screen reading software called VoiceOver. You have to learn it. So each of these softwares, they involve learning. And you can have people teach you for free if you're a part of the VA network, or if you're connected with a nonprofit. In Massachusetts, there's a grant out now through the end of June applicable to senior citizens who are registered with the Commissioner for the Blind to get someone like me, one of our 9 trainers, go to their house anywhere in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and provide training time for all of these accessibility functions. In other states, there's another organization called OSO in Rhode Island. They also have trainers that can go out to the house and train on these accessibility functions. So there are nonprofits, there are state governments. If there are no nonprofits or state governments or anyone offering these services in your area, then there may be a company like my company. If you're in New England, we can go to you and it'll be fee-based. So you pay for our travel time and our time there. And it's about $450 per session for a 2-hour session. So I have to pay a person to go out there who's trained, who can spend 2 hours of time. Each session is 2 hours, but it can add up each session. So just bear in mind what you want to do. And we discussed that on the phone, and they can train you on all of these softwares. But each of these softwares, you don't need anybody to train you because you can go find the information on the internet. Manuals are out there and you can self-train. But if you're somebody like me or a lot of our clients, it's much more helpful to have someone show you it than try to figure it out on yourself. So you have a lot of different options and resources for learning accessibility functions on your digital devices. I mentioned Zoom Text, JAWS, and Fusion. Other ones out there are Supernova and NVDA. Not as much used, but these are free options. One of them is a free option, other one's a little bit less expensive. And these are alternative options that are not as popular, but still pretty good. Okay. The last thing I want to say is, you see her name on screen. I'm going to say Lady A because she's right behind me. And this is an amazing resource to access your digital world. So make sure you're using her and all the functionality. I'm going to mention the drop-in feature. My mother-in-law, who's now deceased before she passed away for the last several years of her life here, she was getting frail and aging, and she lives alone. And so my wife, her daughter, would call her every night. Well, times that she called her, it'd be busy. And why? Because she has the phone that she's used to all her life, that when she put it down, it hung up. Well, the phones now, you have to push a button to hang it up. So we would call her and it would be busy. So we didn't know. Did she hang up the phone? Is she still on the phone? Or did she fall down? Did something happen? So we would wait half an hour, call again, still busy. So what we ended up, and we drove over a half an hour to 45 minutes to get to her house, depending on the traffic. And a lot of the times, nothing was wrong. In those occasions, when we drove over, everything was okay. So we were getting frustrated because we had to keep driving over and was kept getting busy, even though we told her, she kept forgetting. So we got her, I won't say the word, but Lady A, and my 12-year-old set this up. Okay, my 12-year-old set this up. Set up the drop-in feature at our house, the drop-in feature at Nana's house. Set it up to the internet. Had them talk to each other. My 12-year-old did this, okay? So that when we said, I won't say her name, I'll say Lady A, drop in on Nana, all right? Then you hear a little boop at her place, and you can talk to her like an intercom, no phone. So at least a dozen times after we installed that, we had to do that. And 10 of those 12 times were okay. 2 of those times, the first one was a pretty bad fall. We said, we'll do an example of a good time. Heard the boop, Nana, yes, everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Why? Well, your phone's busy. You forgot to hang it up. click the off button. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. So that was okay. But 2 of the times of the dozen that it happened, Nana, Nana, and you hear a faint voice 2 rooms away. And she goes, I fell down, you know, what? And we heard her faintly. We knew something was wrong, called 911. They got there, took care of her, and she had hurt her shoulder pretty bad. But a lot of people, as you know, can fall. And with no one around, it's nice to know they can get help quickly. And so this drop-in feature was a tremendous feature for safety. So if you're in a retirement community, make sure you're getting some type of feature like that, so people's relatives and sons and daughters can check in, because I know people check in on people in the retirement community pretty frequently, but you know, a lot of, you know, if it's a half an hour, an hour, or, you know, you can save a person from just being there a longer period of time between checks, okay? And some retirement communities are independent living, where you're in your own condo and no one's checking on you that often, and you can be there for hours without someone checking on you. So drop-in is a way that you can easily set up a really simple feature where you can have access to that safety feature. Another thing is adding context. You can make phone calls through her. You can adjust lighting. You can adjust security settings. You can adjust locks. You can put lighting strips on your floorway to help you see in the middle of the night. You can set up routines. You know what a routine is? I'm not going to say her name, but I'll say Lady A. Perform the bedtime routine, which you can set up. My 12-year-old can set this up. Okay. And once you set it up and you've told Lady A what the bedtime routine is, which you designed, we'll make one up right now just for the discussion for the presentation. Say, Lady A, perform the bedtime routine. What she does is turn off all the lights. We wanted her to do that. But she leaves on the light in the main room because you want to have a little light on in the house on medium intensity. Puts the temperature down to 65 for sleeping. And she knows that's going to go on at 6 a.m. again to 70 or whatever it might be. She turns the security system on, make sure the doors are locked, and make sure the strip lighting, the path lighting in the hallway is illuminated. So those are just some examples for the bedtime routine. And this is something that you can do with that technology or similar technologies like that. I'm just mentioning her because she's the most popular and the most used. So these are all digital world functional tips that are critical to know about and to begin to get to use. I would say, as a starting point on your digital device, just type in the top 10 things that, don't say Lady A, say her real name, that Lady A can do. Top 20 things that she can do, and just amaze yourself. And then you always can have an organization like ours or a nonprofit or the VA help you set these things up, or if you don't have any 12-year-old like my son. Okay. All right. Next slide. We are going to go into, we're going to pass through these things fairly quick. Remember, this is going to be ready. This presentation is going to be available for you. I'm going to go through some apps. So 20 app tips. You ready? We're going to go through them quick. At the end of it, I'm going to say, ready for your screenshot? Take your screenshot now or your camera now. You're going to get it in an email later. All right, we mentioned, we didn't mention Ira, but Ira and Be My Eyes are an app. We're going to go through 20 of them. Ira and Be My Eyes are for sighted assistance. Someone is on the other end of your cell phone camera, looking where you're looking, giving you sighted assistance. They could be anywhere in the world, connected through your camera to see what you're seeing. For navigation at an airport, at a bus stop, in a store, you're lost. So for sighted assistance, Ira and Be My Eyes. Next one, Zoom for video conferencing. We're using that now. Instacart for grocery shopping. Seeing AI, we mentioned that, for optical character recognition and other applications that they have in that one app. Lyft and Uber for ride sharing. Proxima IT for public transit tracking. This is in the, I know it's in the Boston area. Microsoft OneDrive for cloud storage. Microsoft Soundscape for travel orientation. Fidelity mobile apps for mobile online banking. Lazarillo for GPS info and navigation. Nest for home thermostat control. Apple Podcasts, very valuable for podcast access. You know, news has changed a lot from the Walter Cronkite days. Every news is so different, right? So a lot of people are turning to podcasts that are telling them authentic news that's important to them. So podcasts are growing because you can specify what things interest you. And so a lot of companies will have a podcast, and Apple Podcasts to learn this technology are very helpful. Netflix for described video programming. Bard Mobile for audiobooks. VoiceDream for text-to-speech of documents and books. Eyes Free Fitness for exercise. MyChart for medical communications. The Alexa app for mobile access to Alexa. So you're gonna wake up. Amazon for online shopping. You know, there are probably other organizations as Walmart, but you know, they're good. It's there in a day or two for your shopping. It's really convenient. iRobot for automated home vacuuming. I want to let you know that these were put together by Ashley Colburn and Nick Corbett from the Carroll Center for the Blind about a year ago. And the one thing I want to say about these is that the apps that are good today are outdated tomorrow, so to speak. So, and this is just a springboard so you can know what's important to you. So look at different categories, experiment with different free apps, maybe buy an app, maybe search on which apps have a good reputation. These are some apps that our community has identified. Later on in the year, we'll be announcing our selections of 2022 of top apps. In years past, we've had a presentation called Apple Picking, which was the top apps. So apps are always changing. Please check back at our website or always look into which apps are the most current and most useful for you. But that's a springboard to get going. Take the picture that you want to take right now with your phone or with your screenshot. And I'm going to change the slide in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So now we're going to the next slide. We're almost at the break. Remember, how are we clearing fog and getting functional? There are 2 worlds, the digital world, we mentioned that, the non-digital world or the paper world. With the paper world, let's go into that a little bit. Those are the graphics we put up before. The paper world, I just want to put in your mind before we go into them after the break, is that the paper world solution is electronic video magnification. Okay? Electronic video magnification, which when you come into our showroom in Worcester or a showroom in Cheshire, Connecticut, or if you go on our website, most of the stuff you see on there, it's like walking into a Home Depot. There's just so much electronic video magnification, but all of it can be organized into only 2 categories. 1 category, and you need this. Everyone in your retirement community needs a portable option, maybe a video magnifier, but you do need some form of portable option. The other category of the 2, all of it can be condensed. All of the options can be condensed, distilled, synthesized, homogenized, pasteurized, whatever word you want to use, to make it simple, into 2 categories. All of it, portable and non-portable. And everybody who has low vision needs one of each. Absolutely. And I'll tell you why in a minute as we go on to the next slides. Two less used ones that I want to just mention, not as primary, wearable. Those can be in portable, but wearable is what kind of makes the phone ring. Everyone is curious about wearables, but they don't have the function that a lot of people are looking for. Dr. Toomey mentioned, kind of in a comical way, I picked it up, maybe you remember her saying this, after she goes through all the devices, a lot of our patients say, yeah, but you're gonna prescribe me a pair of glasses, right? So everyone in their mind has this psychology of the quote unquote magic glasses, which don't exist. So the wearables are for distance viewing. They're like a wearable binoculars. And the other one is smart homes, all right? But you wanna make sure you have the first two categories checked off in your functional solutions. What is the point of readiness for starting with video magnification? That's electronic. Here's the point of readiness. When your handheld magnifier that you've been using all your life, it's in the junk drawer, you bring it out. When your handheld optical magnifier is not providing two things. Number one, the magnifier is not providing enough magnification. Or two, the magnifier is not providing enough viewable field or width. So you have these two magnifiers. I'm holding them up right now. You have a bigger one, which I'm shaking, and then a smaller one, which I'm now shaking. So you have these two magnifiers, and there's a difference. When people are recently diagnosed with low vision, the family hears about it. And so what do? They go on Amazon, they go to Walmart, they go to CVS, and they find the biggest lens, the magnifier, something like this or a lot bigger, and they think that they're helping. Nothing against them. Their heart is in the right place, but the laws of optics say differently. The bigger the magnifier, the weaker the power. The smaller the magnifier, the stronger the power. So that's the difference. So the magnifiers you're going to find on Amazon, on Walmart, at CVS, which are probably larger lens size than this, have a very weak power. If you want a stronger power, it's going to be a smaller lens. So that's number two that you're seeing on your screen. Number two says not enough field of view or length. If I'm going to be using this magnifier, and this one is 10x, in order for me to see this, if you can see me, you're seeing me, yeah. I'm holding that paper about 3 inches from my eyes and the magnifier about 2.5 inches, and I'm seeing 2 or 3 letters, okay? So to read like this full time is really hard. These are the laws of optics in any optical magnifier. So that's why when a person has low vision, they absolutely need some type of video magnification. What's the point of readiness? When these types of things are not providing enough magnification or field of view. If these are providing enough magnification or enough field of view, you do not need any electronic video magnification. All right, you got it? There it is. So what's the strategy with low vision? Almost at the break. Magnification is the answer. Make it bigger. People say, I'm there in front of one of my machines and they're here. I can't see it, it's blurry. Okay, what do you have to do to make it bigger? So they turn the dial bigger. Oh, can you see it now? Yeah. All right, so there's a point where it gets bigger where you can see it. All right, me, I told you I do not have low vision. I went to my doctor, a new doctor, about a couple of months ago. I did not have these with me, my cheaters, my glasses. They gave me the new forms to fill out. 10 pages of forms. Sat down, as I'd done all my life. When I filled them out, couldn't see them. I had low vision in that doctor's office. I said to them, the receptionist, I'm sorry, I can't see these forms at all. Do you by chance have a pair of cheaters and they had a whole jar full of cheaters. And I got the cheaters, and then that was my tool. All right, I put the cheaters on. That's my magnifier. I made the information bigger for me that allowed me to do the task with function. Okay, so the answer is the same with low vision. It's just that the things that you're using are not making it big enough. So the answer is, and this is why I'm leaving it up there, magnification is the answer. Make it bigger. All right, where to begin? You need to assemble your toolkit. And that's where we're going to leave it at the break. We're almost done. We're going to go through the rest of the presentation in about 10 minutes. But for right now, we're just going to leave a little bit of a pause right here so we can have a little bit of a break. We were delayed a little bit with the technical difficulties, but I know it's a lot of content at one time. We went through the digital. Now we're going to go through the non-digital. We're going to blow by this fairly quick. But right now the time is, I have 11:12. So let's make it 11:22, 11:25. And then it's really going to be jam-packed content for the remaining time together. So I'll leave it at that for now. A bit of a break, and please come back in about 10 minutes, 11:22. Okay, Erin, are you there? Can you double check with me that we're seeing one screen there, or what are you seeing there?
Yes, seeing the 10-minute break screen.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to begin and move fast. So where to begin? Remember that we are in the stage of non-digital. So we spent a lot of time on digital. Went over a ton of tips to regain function. Now we're going to go to non-digital. Here we go. So what we're going to do is, and what you need to do as either a user or a friend or a professional guiding users, is assemble a toolkit. Okay, so we need to assemble ours. Where to begin on that toolkit? I would like for you guys, if you have the ability, we're going to be referring to a website, and which has a lot of resources that most people are not familiar with. So because there's a lot of the technology in one spot, it has been a good hub for a reference point to explore technologies. And we're going to show you why one place is more valuable than another. So what you want to do first is, when you go to the home page, you want to scroll down when you're on the website. The website is nelowvision.com. So, or you can just Google New England Low Vision, and it will pop up. Or if you type it in, it's NE for New England. So nelowvision.com. And as you scroll down, you're going to see these featured product categories. These featured product categories are a really good starting point to begin to determine, where do I want to look for different devices. So you have blindness accessories, blindness products, braille displays, braille embossers, desktop magnifiers, handheld magnifiers, low vision glasses, and on and on. But that has been a really good organization of the categories to go begin to look at what options are there. Okay, next. The top devices that are available. On the same home page, what I'd like you to do is first click on blog, and we're going to go to this together. I have an arrow pointing to that section at the top of the home page. When you click on blog, it's going to go show you the next screen, which is the list of blog choices. And you want to go down to where the arrows are pointing to top choices. This is going to help you navigate and organize the portable and non-portable and beyond. All right. And then number 3, once you get on top choices, you want to go to top low vision aids for age-related macular degeneration. And this is the important part, 2022. All right, there are different ones, but you want to go to 2022 in those options. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share a different screen. So Erin, help me. I'll make sure I have the right screen up. So stop this share and put that minimized. And so now what we're going to do is do a new share, and hopefully I'll have the internet back here in a second. You put that one up, and we're going to share a screen here. And I think it's that one that we were using. And so Erin, are you now seeing the internet?
Yes.
Okay, and is it a full screen right now?
No, there is a black bar at the top and bottom.
Okay, and is anything else distorting the image, or do you see the Mr. Magnifier on the homepage there?
I see the Mr. Magnifier on the homepage.
Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. I'll actually change the size of the window, so let me know, Erin, if this is better or worse. Is that better or worse?
It's smaller.
It's smaller.
It's smaller. Yeah.
I'll do it the other way. All right. So here we go. So we went to this is the home screen. Now we're going live to what I showed you first. This is the product categories on the home screen, easily getting you to where you want to go. But what you want to do is click on blog. And then after you click on blog, it's going to then give you a drop down for choices here in the categories. And you want to go to top choices. And then we're going to go to not the portable, not aids for veterans, not schools and educators. We want to scroll down to not for doctors, top 10 low vision aids for macular degeneration. Okay, why am I saying to go here? This is a great starting point when someone is new to figure out which is the best. What are the top aids? Electronic video magnifiers for people with macular degeneration. So what we do every year is we ask our customers, we ask our staff to give feedback on which devices are the best, which are working the best for them. So you have a lot of input from a lot of different angles, and we take the totality of all of the devices, portable, non-portable, wearable, and put them into a top 10 list. Now we're gonna branch it out a bit more in a second or two, but this is a great starting point to figure out, where do I begin? What do I wanna look at? So let's go ahead and look at the first one, which I think is the DaVinci Pro. So we click on it, and this pops up. So here you have all of the information on the DaVinci Pro. Now, the DaVinci Pro, just so you know, for non-portable items for the last 6+ years has, if you categorize your technology as good, better, best, this one is considered by many to be best of the best. Top optics on the camera, top easiness of use, top functionality for the most sophisticated user, top OCR in the market. So this is a real good system for productivity tasks. The portable devices are more for spot reading, but this DaVinci Pro is not for spot reading. This is more for reading and writing tasks. So if you want to be functional with your vision at home or at work, or a lot of different community centers will put something like this or this one in the main room where all of the residents can use it. So this is the DaVinci Pro, and it's just a top rated device. If you were looking for a non-portable device and we did not show you or did not tell you about the DaVinci Pro, you would be upset if you found out about that later. So the DaVinci Pro is one of the top devices. Let me just see if I can move on to another one. And then another one of the top devices is, give me 1 second. There's a DaVinci Pro, the Ruby XL. So the number 2 on the list is the Ruby XL. The Ruby XL is one of many different portable magnifiers on the market. It's a top rated one for the past number of years. There are about 6 or 7 versions of the Ruby brand. It's a very popular brand. I don't know what about it makes it so popular. Maybe I do. It's a good product, but maybe it's the Ruby Red that makes it the most stand outish of all the different ones on the market. But this Ruby XL is a 5-inch version. It's very portable and very important. It has this one piece of functionality. It has a handle. I can't believe it when some people out there in the market are recommending portable devices without a handle. How do you hold it? So, I mean, if you're going to have a portable device, it has to have a handle. The Ruby XL has 2 things going for it. I'll show you a picture here with the handle on it. So you can hold it kind of like that, which is perpendicular, or straighten it out like a normal magnifying glass. And I don't know if you can tell, here it is straightened out, the handle. I don't know if you can tell on this view, but this view here shows the Ruby is being propped on a 45-degree angle. So a 45-degree angle, hands-free, is very nice. So this has a 45-degree angle and a nice handle, and it's very lightweight and you can carry it around. All of these products, as I mentioned, are expensive, but these are really good ones. All right, so this one, I think the lowest price one is about $700, and the highest price one that we're going to go through that's available is about $4,500. The DaVinci Pro is about $4,200. So that's the range. It's pretty expensive. This is $940, but this is the top rated one on the market for the past number of years. The DaVinci is number 1. This one's number 2. Let's see if we can go to the next one. Let me see if I can get that handy, which is, it's being hidden by my control. Give me a second. And that one is the Cloverbook. The Cloverbook is a new one to the market. The Cloverbook is, I don't think it's a year old yet, but remember that guy, Sam from The Blind Life? Sam from The Blind Life rated this as the top video magnifier that he's ever rated. So it has a lot of functionality for both students and seniors, and there's different versions of it. But if a resident in a retirement community wanted one to kind of port around from place to place within their residence, or if a community center wanted to loan something out, the Cloverbook Pro is very easy to learn and very easy to use, and it's a really nice piece of technology. I mentioned portable and non-portable, 2 ends of the pendulum. The Cloverbook Pro is in the middle, kind of not portable totally, not non-portable totally, right in the middle. So we'll call that luggable. So the Cloverbook Pro is kind of like a laptop computer. It's luggable. But this is a really nice system for people to make sure they're looking at as a beginning item. One of the most popular items in the market in New England is the Merlin Ultra 24-inch. It's the #1 item issued by the VA, by state governments. It is a workhorse. It's one of the most simple devices on the market. If you have a person with no technology experience, they're overwhelmed by technology, and they don't want to have any issues whatsoever with it, and it's very easy to learn, that's the Merlin. Merlin is beautiful because of its simplicity, and most technologies have a 1-year warranty. They back up with the Merlin with a 3-year warranty. So it's a nice product, the Merlin. So I want to let you know about that. And then one of the newer ones now also is the Explore 12 from Humanware. The Explore 12 is nice because it actually is 2 products in one. That tablet device that I'm kind of hovering over now is shown here in the stand, but this tablet comes out. So you can use it as a portable, luggable unit and then put it in the stand for writing. One thing about portables is that they're very difficult for writing, particularly if you don't have a handle. So that's why, again, I don't know why people are being issued portable devices without a handle. It doesn't make any sense to me. But with a handle, at least you can use it for writing on some of them. But it's really difficult to use a portable for writing for many people. With this style of portable, they give you a stand, so you can use this one for writing. Very nice one. So let's go into another category, which is the next slide, which I'm not going to go back to the slides, we'll just go to it on the website, is is portable. So the first one was the top devices overall. Now we're gonna narrow them down into a different list. Now it's not all the totality of devices. So there's another list called the top portable ones, and you want to make sure it's 2022. This one I clicked on was 2021. So 2022 is what you want. We're working on getting them all out for 2022. So if there is one not available for 2022, then look at the 2021 version. But here you have the Ruby XL again, since it was the top overall on the last one. It is the top one on the portables. Then you have the Explorer 8 from Humanware, another Ruby. The Explorer 5 is very popular. The Pebble has been around for a long time. This is a great product. It's very lightweight, and it is the most useful one for writing with a handle. And then there's ones from Optelec, the Compact, the Amigo, and the Traveler. So these are another springboard to kind of familiarize with different options of the top portable devices. Moving on, the next slide has to do with the top non-portable or desktop. Again, the DaVinci Pro, since it was overall the top one, is the top one for the non-portable. So on this slide, it would be, how to find the top non-portable. Go to the blog, do the search for the top devices, and find the top non-portable or top desktop magnifiers, and there you have the top 10. See the DaVinci Pro on top? You have the Merlin 24, which was also on that first list. The Merlin 20-inch is also very popular. The Reveal 16i. This is an amazing product from Humanware. Many seniors get this because the monitor itself is a tablet. That's kind of cool. So you can, and all the schools get this because it's a tablet. And it's a video magnifier for reading and writing. It has a battery, it has distance viewing. It's a really nice, unique product. The Clearview C+ Speech, the next one, the Topaz OCR and the Onyx OCR. Those are identical softwares, 3 different products names. They're configured a different way on the hardware, but in short, why those are unique is that they all have touchscreen interface. So if you like the touchscreen interface, if you came into us, we would show you the different types of touchscreen ones that are available by showing you one of these. Okay, so those are the non-portable desktop video magnifiers. So the first list was the totality. The second list was the smaller ones. The third list was the non-portable ones. Then let's say you wanted computer technology. That's our next slide, the top computer compatible. And so that slide would bring you and tell you to get to the top vision aids for schools and educators. Since most of these computer compatible ones are being purchased by the education market, we put them in that category. There you have the Cloverbook Pro. We mentioned that was on the top list, the first one. You have the Reveal 16i, the MagnaLink Zip comes with a full computer. If you already have your computer and you want something to connect to it, then that's number 4 and 5, the MagnaLink S or the Transformer HD. So this is a launching pad to kind of get you into what products are to consider from the world's top suppliers under at one spot on this resource site to kind of familiarize which ones you want to begin to look at and why one is different from another, all in an easily organized list with links right to them and prices and SKU numbers, okay? The next one is wearable low vision glasses. You want to find out which are the top wearable ones in the market. Let's go to where they are. So here we have 8 of them. I think they're going to have 9 soon and 10 soon for 2022. But here you have the top rated as far as popularity and feedback from all of our wearables, from all of the wearables that are vision related. These are not text to speech ones, even though many of these do have text to speech. But here you have names like the Patriot Viewpoint, the Vision Buddy, which is great for watching TV, the New Eyes Pro 3, which is small and looks like a pair of sunglasses, so very cosmetically designed. Iris Vision, that is one that's highly recommended by doctors. The New Eyes E2, the larger version. The eSight, one of the most heavily advertised devices on the market. They are everywhere on the internet. Then an oldie but goodie, the Geordie, which has been around. That name's been around almost 20 years. And then a new one, which is very good, Idaptic. So the Idaptic has the Idaptic 3 and the new one, the Idaptic 4. Again, we have them all here. These are all on our website. This is a great springboard to get familiar with all the different low vision glasses. And if you're in New England, you can experience them all at our showroom here in Worcester, where you can try them all on and see if they're right for you, okay? Which is paramount. You need to try them on and see without, never, I would say, never buy these on the internet without first trying them on, okay? Then we go to, not part of a lot of our audience, but for those who want the top blindness products, what we say is, go to the technology section on the top of the web page, go down to blindness products, which will bring you to this page. And then on the right-hand side, you can sort on any of our categories, but particularly I'll show it you on this one for blindness products. You can go by manufacturer. So for example, human wear, I'm gonna select them. Then the website will refresh and just show you human wear products. And they'll show you, because we have it selected as all categories, it'll show you blindness products and low vision products. Well, let's say we just want the blindness products of human wear. Now it removes the blindness products and just shows you the low vision. So let's, I'm sorry, it said it the opposite. It removes the low vision products and just shows you the blindness. So now we want to sort them by prices high to low. And then that will do it that way. We scroll down and then you get very quickly to the Braille Note Touch Plus 32, which is probably the most dominant note taker in the market nationwide, especially here in New England. If someone who is totally blind and needs to have a note taker, it's by far the Braille Note Touch. So if you're in need to find out which blindness products are available, this is a really easy resource to access and organize and sort which blindness products are available from the world's leading suppliers. All right, next we're going to go to resources. So resources, website, top page, we're going to drop down to, actually we're going to go to the home page first. The first resource I want to show you is smart homes. So smart homes, main home page, scroll down past those product categories, and then you come down to past the referrals. We want to make sure it's easy to make a referral to us. So people ask us, how do I get in touch with you? Right here on the home page. Click that and send us your information. We'll call you, either call you back or email, whatever you prefer. Then we go down to smart homes. Smart homes, click there and learn more. We have a very popular video from one of our assistive technology specialists. One of our, I think there's 8 or 9 of us now, and she goes through a video of introducing you to the smart home. So here's a whole page dedicated to familiarizing you with the beginning steps about a smart home, hopefully getting you to the point of when you contact us, and then we talk to you more specifically. Okay, now we're going to go into the resources that are really good to know that most don't know. First one is the ebook. This is a book that I wrote. I'm going to hold it up to the screen here. It's a very thin book, but it's packed with resources that are the headlines of what you need to know and what you need to let others know, especially in a retirement community, if they're diagnosed with low vision. Where do you go? What do you do? So the first step, and I'm gonna name them quick, but this is a free download, by the way. This resource is free. If you want the hard copy, we got to go print them and then charge you whatever the printing cost is and then the shipping cost. But this is a free download. So chapter 1 is, number 1 is you have to contact your ophthalmologist. Many don't even know what an ophthalmologist is. They think it's an optometrist. So, so make sure you're contacting the MD first. They're the quarterback. Ophthalmologist, usually a surgeon. Contact them first. Then it's number 2, optometrist. Number 3, an assistive technology expert that's in a company like this. So wherever you are in the country, there's a company like ours, not the same type of company, but there are assistive technology experts that can show you this technology and you can have a personal demonstration of it. All right, those are the top 3. Number 4, VA hospital. Number 5, state services. So the book goes into what these things are and why you should contact them. Number 6, a nonprofit organization. There are many around New England, and there are many right by you who have specific and unique and usually well-funded services to help you with vision loss. And one of them is support groups. Okay, and there are many others. Number 7 is TVIs. If you're a student, teachers of the visually impaired. Number 8, certified low vision rehab therapist. Very important. Number 9, they're called the COMS, COMS, certified orientation and mobility specialist. How to navigate with low vision, how to get from place to place, how to even pick up a cup of hot tea or coffee on the desk or table. Sometimes it's hard to figure that out. Strategies and how to just function day to day in your house, how to mark up the areas in your house where you're more frequently using stove, microwave, washer and dryer, and they can use tactile guides and larger print faces so that you can access the most used areas more frequently. Number 10, occupational therapist. These are paid for by Medicare if you have a prescription written by your ophthalmologist, your doctor. Number 11, support groups. And number 12, these are the 12 steps. It's a 12-step program. It's kind of we didn't mean it to be that way, but there are 12 steps. The 12th step is attitude. Almost attitude should be number 1. But these 12 steps, download these book sections. You can download them one by one, and it will familiarize with the different players that you need to have contact with in order to get the services to help you become more functional, particularly in a retirement community. All right, the next one, as far as resources go, we're going to go to worksheets, free download of worksheets. These were created by Christopher J. Roz, who works for the VA hospital with senior veterans all the time, and a little bit along with me by helping them get them out to you. So these were primarily used with veterans, and they have different tips and tricks and exercises to help anyone, no matter what age, become more functional using an electronic video magnifier. So you have practice sheets to help you with writing. Then you have with how to use the magnifier, and then 9 pages of humor and fun. So you can download all of those for free. Again, if you want us to send them to you, then you got to pay for it, and we got to charge you the shipping costs and the printing costs. But we wanted to make these available really so you don't buy them, even though you can. If it's easier for you to buy them, then that's fine too, but we really want to make them free and available to you. One of the last things I want to say by way of resources is that most don't know, but even though we have their prices are expensive, go to blog where I just did, and I'm sorry, go to resources where I just did, go to sale items, and occasionally we have pre-owned equipment. So different clinics out there in the 6 states that we cover, because they see a lot of people, we may at times put equipment there on our dime. It might stay there a year or 2 or 3, and it comes back to us in really good shape, but we replace that with the more modern equipment. So we always have a reservoir of pre-owned equipment that's in very good shape, and we always put at least a 1-year warranty on it on almost all the devices. So what we have here is you can download the pre-equipment list in an Excel format or a PDF, I think it is, or you can see them as you scroll down with what we think is a fair price. You might think it's not fair. All right, what is fair to you? So we ask you to make us your offer of what you think is fair, and I'd like to say that no reasonable offer will be refused. So don't say it, I offer you $1. That's not reasonable, okay? Neither is $2, but you know, what reasonable offer? No reasonable offer has been refused. And if you come here and get it, you save in the shipping costs. But that, I want to let you know that that's a resource, particularly for those who don't have the money and need to have something now. We also have rental programs that you can try it and just experience what a video magnifier is first without having to invest the full amount in it. You can pay a rental price for some of this used equipment as well. Okay, so I'm going to stop this share and go back to the presentation and answer questions because we're just kind of wrapping up toward the end of our time. So, and I'm going to do another screen share to get you back to where we were before. So Erin, I'm asking you to focus in on whether or not I am sharing my presentation again. And I think that is it. So let me know if that's it. And you should see the full where to begin slide right now. Is that what you see?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to blow past these things which I discussed, just so you can see that this will be in the PDF that we send to you. Again, we're talking about, remember the two worlds, digital. We spent a lot of time before the break. We were just talking about the springboard for non-digital. You need to have a demonstration of these devices before you buy them. Wherever you are, there will be a local distributor who can coordinate that with you. Sometimes there's a nonprofit agency if there's not a local dealer. So where to begin? We went through this. We went through the top portable, go to the website, click blog, click top portable. We did non-portable, which is the productivity technology. Go to the website, go to blog, click top desktop. You went to the computer compatible, low vision website, click blog, educators, wearable. We went through that. Where to click. So this will all be ready for you, but you can search it for yourself before the presentation comes to you. Blindness products, if you want that, use the sorting tools, functional resource tips. I mentioned the smart homes. I mentioned the ebook with all of the 12 steps and the resources, the 12 resources, the training worksheets, the sale items. These are just pictures of the different ones that we went through. There's some pictures of them, which I already showed you on the website. Those are the sale items. And now we're coming to kind of the close, just to kind of wrap this up. So how to focus and function, the big tip, digital and paper worlds. You all know this, but most people don't. Now you know for sure. Organize your brain in those two worlds. Solve one world and solve the other. And now you know how by way of a path forward. That's the digital world, the iOS, the Android, the apps, the PC and the Mac, all the different functionalities that I began to show you today. The larger softwares, JAWS, etc. if you need them. The paper world, remember that can be organized into two primary video magnifier categories. I mentioned portable, whether it's a handheld magnifier like this, an optical magnifier, whether it's a cell phone where you have a magnifier, or whether it's one like the Ruby, you do need a portable option. So that's important. And it's critical you need a non-portable option for productivity tasks. All your reading and writing is on a non-portable like the DaVinci Pro. Then you have wearable. Those are for distance viewing, theater, movies, TV, events, traveling, seeing people's faces, that's a wearable. And then the smart homes, like the technology behind me, which I referenced from Amazon, the features like drop-in, calling people with your voice, changing the TV, changing the lighting, all of these things are smart home. And don't forget, the biggest one is lighting, right? So don't forget lighting. Lighting is the most important starting point for becoming functional with your low vision. So we'll leave it at that for the presentation. Erin, if you can help me lift the mutes on the microphone. And if you could also read any chats where there's a question that we can help to answer. I'm going to stop sharing this screen so you see me again. But I wanted to thank you for those of you who had to go, for your time and for your attention. I know I put in a lot of information into what seems like a short amount of time, even though it was 3 hours. It always feels like we're putting in 10 pounds of potatoes into a 5-pound bag. And it's a lot of content, but at least you're going to have this, you know how to access it. At least you have some direction and focus where there may be some fog with trying to navigate how to become functional with vision loss. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you all. And for those of you who would like to stay around for some chit chat and from some dialogue, I will be remaining for that. So thank you again. One of the questions was, which of the VA hospitals has a blind rehab outpatient clinic? For those of you who are seeing the chat, Aaron answered that. In New England, it's the Boston VA, Bedford VA. In Maine, it's there's a VA in Maine near Augusta. Then there's the Northampton VA in Massachusetts out by Leeds, Northampton. There's also one in Worcester, and there's one in we mentioned Boston, White River Junction in Vermont, Manchester in New Hampshire, and West Haven in Connecticut. Another question on the Zoom was, how do you do the Zoom reader on the reader view on a Mac? If you're on a Mac, it's on the website bar, right at the top where you're putting in whatever you're typing in, www.google.com, that bar, it's to the left of that. There's a little icon there on the Mac. And then that's the reader view. Then the scroll magnifier is you do have to go into the preferences of your system preferences and activate it. So we would have to talk that through with you over the phone. It'd be too much to condense into a training right now, but you can call us and we can tell you that over the phone, or you can easily just try to figure that out and probably figure it out yourself. There is something similar on the PC for a reader view. Thought I mentioned that. Okay, Aaron's answering these, thank you. And Bill's answering these, thank you. A lot of good questions. JAWS, job, access with speech. Thank you, Bill. Okay, and I know I was going fast for those we're taking notes, but you'll get the presentation. I apologize for the speed. When we talk to patients and clients who come in here, it's funny because our normal speed being just doing what we do is at 95 miles per hour. We're trying to fit in so much into one day, answer emails, answer phone calls, respond to clients' needs, 95 miles an hour. But when you come in here or when you're on the phone with us, we slow down to 5 miles an hour. This presentation, I had to go speed it up because there was so much content. And we just scratched the surface of it all, but at least we have some tips to help with the basic functionality. So with that, were there any more chats or anybody had a question they wanted to ask me in front of the group? All right. Well,
Oh, I have
yes, Mary.
a question, and I'm not sure you'll answer this. If a low vision specialist prescribes glasses that are super magnifiers, so you can read a whole page with the glasses, for example, is that something that you can purchase as a wearable that's already been produced, or they all have to be custom made?
Okay, so I need to quantify that a bit because there is no glass lens available that I know of that will allow a user to read a whole page. And
Okay, so
for
these
example,
this was done by a low vision specialist.
Yeah.
At the New England College of Optometry. And I'd have to bring the page closer. It was to be able to read things on something like came in the mail.
Yeah.
For example, and that's not electronic. And I could bring the document closer to me.
Yes.
Or read and be able to read it with glasses versus using a magnifier.
Yeah, because
And I just didn't know if wearables, if there's pre-produced wearables that do that, or does it have to be a prescription?
okay. So the ones you're talking about are an optical lens,
Okay,
right? So these will
I don't know.
magnify. Oh, they are, yeah, these are an optical lens. They will, and the
Okay.
doctors prescribe this. These will not be available through us or an assistive technology person. A doctor needs to prescribe them. So
Right.
those are a prescription, and the prescription will be for a 2X, between a 2X and a 3X. I don't think it's much more than that. And it's 1 power. Sometimes there's a little, maybe 2
Right.
powers, but okay. Those, I think you would need a prescription for.
Yes, I do have a prescription for it, but I didn't know if you could purchase them pre-produced or I needed to go to an oculist who has to produce them, which we all know is a
Yeah,
more
they would
expensive
need,
way of
yeah,
doing
they
it.
would, I would say that you would let them get the right prescription for you, and then the manufacturer, I know the 2 manufacturers, it's usually Design for Vision or Acutech in North Carolina. They'd have to custom make them for you for your prescription. So
Okay,
for those ones, yes. All right. Now,
okay,
put that to the side for a second. The difference, what is here with assistive technology, is that it's not an optical lens like you're talking about.
right,
These are video magnifiers, and you do not need a prescription to get these. No way.
right.
So some
Okay.
people use their glasses within the video magnifier wearable on their head. Others do not. So we have to sample them. The benefit of the video magnifier, if it is a benefit, but for those who find it a benefit, are 2 things. One, you have a much higher magnification range than you would ever get on an optical lens. Number 2 is you can get variable magnification strengths within that optical range. So you might go from 0 to 10x, I'm sorry, 1x to 10x or 1x to 20, or even up to 30x times original size. And it'll be variable incremental levels within that range, depending on the product. Whereas you'll never, it's just impossible to do that with an optical lens. So the laws of optics prevent a doctor from prescribing an optical lens that can do that. That's the change in solution with electronic video magnifiers on your head. Then they're called low vision glasses on your head.
Okay. So it also, and when I'm hearing you say that, is if your vision got worse, the low video magnifier can adjust with your changing vision.
Yep.
While if it's a fixed optical lens, you'd have to get another one made. Is that also?
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
If your vision is
Okay.
changing
Okay.
dramatically, you might not be able to use the optical one, where you have much more bandwidth and options on the video magnifier because you have many more magnification levels to change it to. And also the field of view. That's one thing to know, is a lot of these wearables, electronic ones, have a much wider field of view.
Okay.
101 degrees. So think, I'm putting my hands out side to side. That's 180. Cut it in half. That's 90. Spread it out a little bit further. About 101 degrees is the field of view on a lot of the wearables. And the viewing monitor is about the size of a cell phone. So it's presenting that image, particularly if you have central vision loss, on a much wider screen. So it's a totally different experience than an optical viewer.
Okay. Okay. And that video magnifier is under the wearable section?
Yep, you want to look at for the ones that go in your head, they're called low vision glasses. Why?
Oh, okay.
Why are they called low vision glasses?
I don't know.
They're called low vision glasses because when human beings search on the internet, that's what they search for. And so companies like mine want to pop up. So that's the category that they're all called for, even though technically they're not low vision glasses. They're a video magnifier on your head, a low vision wearable.
Okay. And that's where I'd find it on your website, is under low vision glasses.
Low vision glasses, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to thank you. I was a person who emailed you because I had spent at least 3 years trying to find a low vision specialist and nobody seemed to be able to tell me. And I emailed you and you responded within the day and I had an appointment and it was wonderful. And I appreciated your doing that.
Oh, that makes my day. I appreciate you telling me that. What part of the country are
I
you
mean,
from?
it really, and I live in a retirement community in southern New Hampshire. We have a low vision support group. And then I told them the whole story. And I will also share your video when you send it to me of today. It's really hard to get people to do this stuff. It just surprises me, but
I know.
a little encouragement, they cross the line.
Well, I appreciate that feedback very much, and I'll pass it on to my team. It makes our day. We just, someone once said it's never right to do the wrong thing and never wrong to do the right thing. And so we just go forward doing the right thing, and we're glad it had an impact there with you. I want to let you know that it's going to take a couple of days for us to download this video and then edit it and then send it out. So figure about a week or so before you get it, but you'll get an announcement from us that it's available.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. All right, anybody else who has a question? If you are speaking and I'm not answering you or responding to you, then take your mic please off of mute. Okay, so we're past time. I don't hear anybody else, which doesn't mean that someone doesn't have a question. Often I get questions afterwards. You have our email. You have our website. You have a way to contact us. You have my email now because that was up there as well. If you didn't get that, its first name is Scott, S-C-O-T-T, and the same suffix as all the other emails from our company at nelowvision.com. So you have a way to contact me. If you have any questions for me or for anyone on my team, we are really honored to help you. We feel fortunate when people contact us. We wish we always could do more. We wish you could give these out for free, but they are expensive. So we really want to make it right. We want to get it right for you. We really take our time educating you and making sure you explore the product and have the right one for you. And there are often times when it's not the right one. So we say that as well. And sometimes you just part ways. And if a new one comes to the market, we let you know about it. So that can happen as well. So thank you for your time and your attention. We appreciate it. We're here for you. And contact us if we can help. And have a great day. And thanks for attending this workshop. Bye-bye.